This episode of the Long Run Podcast is sponsored by Skechers.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Long Run live show and podcast. I'm Ian Wilkerson. Welcome along. Here we are, usual time, 7 o'clock on YouTube and Facebook, brought to you by the 40 Runs running community and our good friends at Skechers, our loyal and excellent sponsors. Thank you very much for your support. Tonight, it's all about Strava. Are you addicted to Strava? Are you
And
worried
other running
about
apps. And other running apps.
Yeah, apparently other running apps are available as well.
Yeah.
Nike got one, a few others too. So are you addicted to keeping a digital track of your minutes, hours out on the road and how much mileage you're doing and what speed you're doing? What do you think of the pitfalls of that? So we're here to talk all about that. Plenty of other stuff going on as well. The boys are all here. Al's here. He's got a special feature later on that he's going to be introducing. We're much anticipated. We are looking forward to that greatly. And we're going to have a good chat about what we've been up to. So, Chris, what have you been up to this week, sir?
Melting, and probably going to be melting tonight in here. I've worn this T-shirt deliberately, so people who are watching the live stream podcast, you won't get this, but you will see how much I'm sweating during the course of the evening because this shirt will change colour. The boys have sensibly gone for black, but I thought actually just for a laugh, really, I'll wear this to see what colour it is. This week, light week training wise for me, deliberately because we've got ASICS 10K on Sunday, which we're looking forward to very much. Park run tomorrow. Going to make a nuisance of myself for Petra. She's going to love it. But yeah, this week's all been focused in on Sunday's race, which has now been made slightly harder because the shoes that have come through that I'm going to be wearing are heavier than I thought they would be and warmer than I thought they would be. And so it looks like I'm going to...
Sounds like you've got a bit of a conundrum, sir.
Well, no, it's not a conundrum. I'm going to take one for the team. I've got the new Nike Zoom Fly 5 coming in today. And I put it on Instagram. They're like nearly 2 ounces heavier than the Speed 3s. So I don't know. It's going to be a harder effort than it was going to be in the first place. But we'll take one for the team. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It's unbiased consumer advice. That's the way I look at it. Not gifted. Hashtag not gifted. Unbiased consumer advice. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a media company. It's me running about. And that's it, really.
We had a little run about in Ware last week, didn't we? On Sunday.
Had a little jog around in Ware. That was nice. I didn't particularly enjoy it because it's that 10-mile course. But as always with the Ware Joggers event, it was a great event. Loads of volunteers out on course. What I really, really enjoyed was the kids' races. I thought that was brilliant. It was just great to see. We had some of our junior kids there smashing it out of the park, but all the kids running. That's one of the highlights of that event is that it's a family, kids event as well. And I think it's really, really important that those kids are able there just to, they might not be might not fancy playing football, or tennis might be too expensive, or, cricket's out of their reach or whatever because you can't afford to go to the club. But at least they can just run. Junior park run's free on a Sunday, and they can turn up and they can still run and have some fun. That was just a great thing about that event.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was great to see so many people there. I just wanted to give a special shout out to Karen Hogan, who smashed it in the 10-miler the day after coming third, finishing woman a half in dark, which that is some effort, that is.
Yeah. It was. Oh, we've got to give a shout out to Sarah, who came. Was she second female in the 10K? Second. So Sarah, who's my brother-in-law's friend, every race she turns up to, she places. And the reason she's not an elite runner, she's not a club runner of any sort, right? She just literally does no more than 10K and does all of her running on the treadmill. But every time she rocks it out, she's just one of those really annoying people that can run really well and really consistently. But she doesn't do any training apart from the odd treadmill run. But then she turns up and every run I see her do, she comes in like top female for her age group. It's incredible. So I've got to give her a shout out as well, because that was a
hats
great
off to
effort.
Sarah too. That's great. Al, how are you, mate?
Well, before I kind of answer that, being the good coach that I am, I've got a tip for Chris about resetting his mindset for Sunday.
Oh,
So, how much heavier are your shoes? Did you say 2 grams?
2 ounces.
2 ounces. Well, there you go. There's your target sweat rate tonight. If you can lose 2 ounces in sweat, by the time you get onto the start line, you'll be net neutral.
It started. Look, can you see? People on the live stream?
Yeah, it's just a little.
Don't worry about it. You know, the gain on your feet will be lost through,
Yeah,
your liquid.
point now. This is
there you go.
it.
So how am I? Yeah, I'm good. I'm finally overcoming a little bit of jet lag, having made it back from the Florida Keys and everywhere else last week.
Yeah.
Finally feels like it's been the first week of some decent marathon training. It's been a bit stop-start up till now, but with only 12 weeks to go, I thought I'd better get on it. So finally starting to catch up. Rich Quinn.
Well, you better start.
Yeah, I'm helping Rich Quinn with his marathon training, and he's absolutely smashing it out of the park.
Yeah, I've seen. He's flying.
Yeah, I've seen his comments. He's sort of like,
doing well.
Yeah, he loves your interval sessions, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's kind of embarrassed me into thinking I should do some myself. So yeah,
good. Well, that's good. I mean, there's so
well.
many other ways that everybody can. On a serious note, there's so many different ways you can get motivated to.
Oh, I tell you what's a
get
good
out
way
the
to get
door.
motivated. That all the because the Hartford group have been lit up today by Hell's Bells.
Oh God, yeah.
Who's put out there that she's doing her 50th birthday run in Ibiza on July.
No, it's
April.
It ain't gonna be in July, mate.
April, whatever it is. It's the same weekend as Landmarks, London Landmarks, and she's flying out to Ibiza to do this 12K half marathon event, and everyone's now going, actually, that sounds like a rather good idea. So
I've been away a week, and I got back at lunchtime and found that I'd been added to a WhatsApp group called Ibiza.
There we go. That's what I mean. So everybody's on the case. If you're going to Ibiza in April, or even if you're an island close to Ibiza, I'm guessing you'll be able to hear us lot turn up and rock it out over the 12K or whatever distance. So if you're not part of the Facebook group, which you should all be part of, by the way, if you're listening to this on the podcast, go over to Facebook and join. But they're all heading off to Ibiza in April, which sounds awesome. So that's going to be cracking, isn't it?
It's partly relevant as well this week because I know we talk a lot about the prices of races, and we'll get on to the events that's happening in the weekend in a minute. But it corresponds with the Landmarks weekend, and it's the ballots out. You can get in the ballot if you want to do that.
Home.
But it's 59 quid if you get through.
Well, what I would say,
people were saying, other people were saying, well, we could go to Ibiza and get a flight to Ibiza.
Yes, right.
Do a half marathon there.
On that subject, right, with Landmarks, what I would say to people, and I'm the first person, right, to shout and scream about the cost of a race event. Look at, like, it was brilliant on that Solstice run when it cost us 13 quid, and I still couldn't believe that it was 13 quid, right? But in fairness to the London Landmarks half marathon, firstly, and Fletcher will say it as well, you have got the cost of closing down London, right? Which is expensive, people. But you've got to remember that event is organised and run for the Tommy's charity, okay? The money from that event goes to that charity. It's not lining somebody's pocket. It's not buffing up, London Marathon events, all that money that they get. Don't forget the virtual they're doing and the money they're getting from that for doing nothing, right? Giving you the same medal, which is a liberty. So I know they got their little trust fund thing that they then give to good causes, which is great. Really, really great work they do with that. But they're still a profit-making machine, London Marathon events, right? London Landmarks half marathon is organised and put on by the Tommy's charity. Everybody who's involved in that is Tommy's charity. So 53 quid, I don't think, it is steep, but I can live with it because I know the money is going to a charity and going to a good cause. Okay, so that's slightly different, I would say. It's when you get a company, say that's we'll talk about it in a minute, but like with the ASICs or whatever, where they're starting to ask silly money, like down at the Brighton Marathon, where they're trying to recoup some of their losses from COVID, which again I appreciate, but they are getting a little bit leery on the prices. That's where it's a bit strong because they're doing that as a business. That's the difference. London Landmarks is for charity. So just,
Oh,
bear that in
absolutely.
mind.
Yeah, I appreciate that, mate. I'm just putting it out there and just sort of
Yeah.
like facilitating the comment on the situation. But
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you completely. It is it's a much different consideration if you're entering a race and and the entry fee seems a bit steep and it's north of 50 quid or something like that. If that money's going to take for example, it's a bit of a different sort of situation, but I was injured a few weeks ago and I was unable to do the Southend half marathon, but rather than defer my place, I just let them take my entry fee because
Good
it
man.
was a charity for
Good man.
the hospice down
Yeah. Good man.
that neck of the woods. And I thought, well, 25 quid, I'll give. They can have the money. I'd rather give them the money.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have done that I would have deferred it if it had been a sort of private running enterprise that were doing it.
Yeah. The other thing as well with landmarks, got to give them a bit of love again on that they're able to do the ballot so quickly. Again, proof. That gets a lot of people into that ballot, right? But they're again, we go on a soapback, up the same points, but the fact that they're able to turn that around so quickly just proves again that London Marathon events need to have a good look at
Well,
themselves.
London are going to have to get themselves in gear this year, aren't they? Because they're only going to have 6. They're going to have about 3 weeks from when people are going to have to start their training. So they're going to have to sort it out this year.
I just think it's disappointing that they string it out as long as they need to.
Yeah.
But there we go.
Well, so we can talk about. There's been a lot of bad publicity for ASICs, for the ASICs.
Discontent. Yeah.
Discontent's a good word because now, correct me if I'm wrong because I've been away, but they sent an email to people after they'd taken their money a week before they were going.
Basically, I don't know. I can't remember the total ins and outs of it, but bottom line, ASICS 10K, which is, I would say, a premier or has been pitched as a premier event in London, along the streets of London as a 10K. It's a summer event that has been in the past hugely popular. Was part of the Virgin Active or whatever they were called events. That then got taken over by Limelight, who then obviously took over their events like Hackney, Oxford Half, ASICS 10K is one of them. There's probably a couple of others. I think they even managed Royal Parks, but that wasn't a Virgin thing. So they took it over. They obviously put the prices up because everybody moaned about the prices for a 10K. But then what they did was this week, and I only knew about this because Simon, if you don't know, watch some of the videos, who does our ratings in on the races, he got the email and went, this is, you can imagine it was choice words, a liberty, because they've sent this out like literally a couple of days beforehand and said, oh, by the way, no T-shirt, which is what they did at Hackney. There was no T-shirt. But it was the fact that they've told you now and not, they would have known beforehand, just to get the facts straight, they would have known they weren't going to offer a T-shirt, right? Because these things are cost analysis and everything's done well in advance, right? So they would have known that. They then did the lame thing, in my view, and I love the guys at Limelight because the people who actually work there are really, really good people. So this is not them. But what they did was a bit lame. They firstly tried to tell you that it was because of sustainability and all that sort of stuff. And then the second point mentioned the word cost. Okay. So we know it's cost, but instead of just being straight up and just saying that straight out the bat and then giving, like we always say, give you an option of buying a T-shirt or adding that to the price. But it's because they want to charge you 15 quid if you want a T-shirt. Apparently they charge 4 quid for you to send your race number out as well. And it's like, where do you
And they
stop?
mentioned that some part of this cost was due to enhance on-course entertainment. I don't know if Oasis are playing
That's me.
someone.
That's me.
No,
that's me. That's the on-course entertainment.
That sounds a bit.
Yeah, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I would give them, me personally, I would give them the benefit of the doubt, right? I don't know whether they were short for something or something's happened somewhere along the line, along the supply chain. I remember when there was a problem in Oxford and the medals didn't turn up and there was a big mess up around there. So maybe something along the lines didn't connect in a management meeting and it's just one of those things. I still think the cost is a bit steep, but it seems like this is, we can't necessarily have a go at them because every race is putting their prices up unless you're on a local level. So it's not just, You know, those guys that are putting prices up. As I said, I've mentioned Brighton Marathon events. You know, some of the other, I'm sure the winter 10K is going to be punchy as well in terms of cost. So you can't just hang them out to dry, because I'm guessing
It'll
this is
be
the way we're going.
yeah, and I mean, are people going to vote with their pocket? You know, people are going to say, "Well, do you know what? I think you're taking the mick. I'm not going to do it."
Well,
Do you
this
think
is
this
what
is
I
going to be?
believe, though.
Do you think we're getting to that stage, aren't we?
Well, it tells you not when the people are saying we're going to go to Ibiza because it's cheaper. That tells you the thought process of where people are going. It was interesting that they were still trying to sell A6 10K spaces right up to the close. It was the same with Vitality 10K, if you remember. Yeah, people, they were still trying to get rid of Vitality. They put it together. That, you know, it was good calls. They said about Ukraine, and they'd done discounted places and that lot.
And you'd think
But
people would be knocking the door down to do a 10K around the streets of London, wouldn't you? It'd be more from the in terms of you'd sort of like, if people are at the stage where they're graduating from doing a, you know, they've done say couch to 5K and they've graduated to being a regular park runner, then the chance to do a 10K around London I think people would be banging the door down
I
to
think
try
if
and
they
do it.
priced it right, yeah, if they priced it right, they could double the amount of people that would do it. That's the way I would look at it from a business point of view. If I was at the top, I would say, you know what? Let's lower the price. Our costs are whatever, £1 million to shut down London. Boom, 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 boom. Don't give them a pony medal, which is wooden. You know, give them the option if they want a t-shirt, but you get a whatever, but you put it out at the front end that you're not going to get a t-shirt, but you can get a discount, whatever, right? But your entry point is 42 quid or 40 quid, right? Surely you're going to get more volume, and you're going to get more people wanting to do it than all this sort of trying to sell tickets late because nobody signed up at 56 quid or whatever it is a pop. I don't know.
But
I
you know,
think it's
if
the right way we're
events of
going.
the week elsewhere have taught us, it's so much better just to be up front and tell the truth.
Yeah, that's
And
the
tell
thing.
people if you're going to be, you know, say at the outset.
T-shirt colours changing. People just want an update, everyone.
It's
What
like
do you
one of
reckon
them.
about all this?
Well, on the A6 one, it is disappointing because it is one of the premier races in my view, and it was one of my first London races after London Landmarks, and it's a great atmosphere if they do it properly. You know, the buzz in the pens and the music going over the start line at Pall Mall makes it awesome. But we've talked about it. You know, it's the lack of transparency. You know, I'm the worst one. I have bought the T-shirt, but I've now paid another £15 on top of my race entry, but I won't get my T-shirt till mid-October or sometime, you know, in the second half of the year.
Right.
So, you know, I'll proudly wear it in due course, but everyone else
Yeah.
would have forgotten about the race by then.
Yeah.
And yeah, when it comes to things like landmarks, I've already booked my hotel. So
Legend.
I'm on the Ibiza plane, definitely.
There he goes. He's off ski. Good lad.
All
How's
right,
living a
tap him up
dream?
there with the arrangements.
How's living a dream? So, just so the viewers know, we've not
He is
seen
here.
Toby. He's been missing in action all week because he's been working with his active job. He looks like he's about to fall asleep. So if anybody could put something in the comments that may actually interest him, then he might stay with us. But I am worried that he's going to drift off into some state of, I don't know, whatever it is. But he looking, bless him. You're all right, Toby. We are worried about you. How many miles you done this week?
None. I don't even know. I got no idea.
He don't even know if he's been out or not.
Do you know who you are?
Not really.
Oh, bless him. We've got to look after him. It's all right. His
Just press
girlfriend
the
will look
right
after
buttons,
him.
mate. We're okay. We'll give you the week off.
If you
Yeah,
check his
it's all right.
Strava, he might know whether he's been out for a run or not.
Yeah, if we checked his Strava, good link, Al, good
Yeah,
link. But before we link into that, because we've got to get to the questions, I just got to give a shout out to Skechers. Mad love to them. Thanks to everybody who watched the Skechers Go Run Ride 10 video. Thanks for all the feedback. It is an incredible show, so check that out. But big love to Skechers, as always. Right, should we hit something because we got loads? There was a comment, by the way, and thanks to everybody I've got who sits there and waits for this show to start. Right, I don't understand that, but thank you. But if you've got questions or whatever, stick them in the live stream. If you're listening to this on the pod, and it's the first time you ever listened to this rubbish, we do this live and people comment and ask questions and stuff, which is awesome. You can also send in stuff via email. What's the email address?
longrunshow@gmail.com. This is why we go a little bit off topic sometimes. It goes off and branches off into several different avenues because.
But I've got to give a shout out to Glenn. I'm going to say this wrong because that's just me. Coney. He put this in before we started live. Evening from Loch Lomond. Is this? Oh, no, it's different. No, this is Glenn from the Pyrenees. You know the geezer from last week.
Oh yeah.
Just wanted to say thanks to FORDY. Oh, it's for me. For the reviews on the Endorphin Speed 3. Got mine. Got me out of Brooks and love the speed. So there we go. So I've now also, I should be on commission. But I've got him out of Brooks. So you're welcome, Brooks. You're welcome, Saucony. So yeah, that was something that came in early. But we've had loads, haven't we, Al? Like loads.
Yeah, we'll start off though with a comment. This might pique a little bit of interest for Toby. Apparently, and I've not verified this, so I don't know if it's true. So we'll put the usual caveat about that. But there's free for the Ibiza half marathon.
There is, I'm coming.
Yet,
I'm going. Let's go.
I'm going.
No, not a smile from Toby. That didn't get any reaction. So
no reaction. And also, Al, have you seen he's in trouble with admin? Toby, you are adding no value here. Can you reply to my message, which is urgent and important? You know it's bad when somebody's actually messaging him during a live stream.
Yeah, we don't want to get involved in any domestics here, do we? Shall we move on?
Yeah.
So Lee Wilson's asked a question about the best London half. I'm not going to ask you guys to answer that because we have something special in the second half of the show that may just address that point. So stay listening, Lee.
Stay tuned, everyone.
Yeah.
Glenn Cooney wants to know what our views are on the GNR T-shirt. I haven't signed up, so I've got no clue. But apparently, it looks a bit like Where's Wally?
I love it. It's really different.
I think it's pony. I preferred the one last year that I didn't get. I like the burgundy one from last year.
That was nice. Yeah, the burgundy was. This one's a bit more. It's like cartoony, big sort of something that you'd see in a big. I like it. It's better. I've got a couple that have got a picture of the bridge on. This is different. I like that.
Thumbs up from Wilco. Kingy, he's running his first marathon. I think he said in May. That's not so important, but the key thing is a week before he's going on his mate's stag do.
Legend.
Have we got any tips other than don't go?
What do you mean don't go?
So just make sure you've got a number of a lawyer in your phone to get you out. That's the only thing I would say. You want a mate who
does exist, I guess. You know.
You want a mate who's got some legal background who can get you out of anything. That's what my number one tip is for anybody going on the stag do. Nothing running related, but that's my tip for you.
I think the key point here is the fact that it's a week before. See, by a week before, you should be ticked along. Most of your training's in the bank and all that sort of thing. So it just means that don't do nothing stupid.
Ruined. Just get ruined and just go and go big time. What they can do?
Saying, Wilco, tapering plus carb loading equals success 7 days later.
Plenty of carbs in beer, mate.
Yeah, you know.
Look at Toby. He did nothing for 6 weeks and he still went and done a PB in Edinburgh. All right, he broke himself, and look at Wilco. Go through it again, just so anybody missed that. 100%, the only time he's ever done 100% in his life. He went double McDonald's breakfast, fish and chips for lunch, dough balls, spaghetti bolognese, spaghetti meatballs.
You read this down?
4
pints of beer, and then went and smashed a PB at Edinburgh. I'll just leave that there.
You forgot the ice cream.
Right, we've discussed this, but we actually have got one sensible running question. So,
really?
Hats off to Robert Hallam. He's recognising that we're moving into hot training again. We're going to have a hot weekend. So, what's our tips for running in the heat?
Firstly, check out the video. I won't say it, but I did do a video about this recently on how to survive training in the heat and how I survive. And it's a few things that you may not have necessarily thought of, because there's the obvious ones: be hydrated, run early, run late, all that kind of stuff. But there are some other tips in there. Check that out on the channel. It's quite a recent video. I can't remember even. I'm trying to look for it now when it came out, but check that one out because that will help you. There's some tips and there's like 5 tips on how to survive. So go and have a look at that, mate.
Right then. I mean, we've done 25 minutes. We really ought to talk about the main topic of the day, wouldn't we?
What's the main topic?
We're going to talk about running apps and people's addiction to it. So I'll start with you, Chris. What is your relationship with a running app?
Well, I'm going to go back one step, right? I want everybody to look on their phone, right? And look on their phone and tell me, without consciously looking, what app comes to mind, what is immediately drawn to you. Just tell me which app. Put it in the comments. Boys, which one do you look at first?
Garmin.
Garmin, okay.
Yeah, I look at Garmin, but only because I copy and paste everything onto Strava anyway.
Toe? No, just look at the apps, not what you're going to... Look, what one? Just so you look at Garmin, you see the app, and what does your eye go to on your home screen?
Normally what you and Sabrina have been messaging about.
So just put it up and look. The reason I say that is because there are studies into the colors in which they use for app icons. Orange is one of the most prominent colors in which you can choose, but it gives the sense of being friendly as well. So your eye draws to it versus other colors. So I'm just starting straight away. There's a reason why people, WhatsApp's green, orange, and red. Yeah. Colors. If you look on YouTube, people's thumbnails are usually green, red, or have some form of orange in them. It's to bring your eye in. It's the way that the brain works and the eyes work. Okay.
Wow.
But if you look at Strava, it's orange. Now there was some form, I don't know if this is true, right? So take this with a pinch of salt. But there was some form of that people who put their phone, and there's a way to do this. You can put your home screen on black and white. So you turn off all the colors of your apps. There is a way to do it in the settings. Okay. If you do that, apparently you spend less time on your phone, because when you open up your phone, your brain remembers stuff and it's drawn to doing stuff. It's like I say, we're talking about addiction in a minute, right? But I challenge all of you to take your phone, just Google it how you can do this, right? Because I can't remember. It's all in the settings. But turn it to black and white, all your apps, and to black and white, and do that for a week. And because you can get your phone usage on your phone tells you, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, that's guaranteed to go down, because the colors, they spark emotion, they spark a sense in your brain that make you do stuff, which is why, for example, if you look at the running apps, Strava is orange for a reason. Test it out. Let us know. Send an email into something.com. What is it?
longrunShow@gmail.com.
So I challenge all of you to turn your phones black and white for a week. See if your phone usage goes down. Because when you're like sitting on the sofa watching TV, you turn over your phone. If it's black and white, you won't look to do nothing. But if there's all flashing colours at you, you're more likely to do something. So interesting.
There you go.
Bit of
It
science.
was interesting, mate. That's
shirt.
It's an
Look
education.
at the shirt. Look at the shirt. It's gone different colour. So right, going back to the original question. Sorry, Wilco, we went off.
That's all right, mate.
With regards to Strava, two things. Firstly, what I've realised, which scared the life out of me this week, or no, it was last week, I set my, what's it called, to private, my maps to private when we did the challenge.
Yeah.
And after some thought about it, I get some, and it's nice. 9 times out of 10, most people are really nice. But sometimes I get sort of questions and comments and things about it on Instagram and other places. Oh, I'm down in where I live. Oh, hopefully I'll see you. Or, oh, I see you there. Oh, hopefully I'll bump into you. Or can I come down and run with you? And I get stuff like this. So actually I was thinking maybe not having where I'm running on my maps is the smartest thing. Because obviously this is not to meant to be like, but I'm on YouTube, I'm putting myself out there, and I could at some point upset somebody. Right?
Yeah.
If it's documented where I am all the time, and you're seeing when I'm running where, I don't know, maybe I'm too paranoid, but it was the fact that I was getting some comments about, oh, I might be running there. So I've actually kept my maps now as private. Probably make no difference, because if someone wants, anyway. But I just, so that's one thing I've done. And the other thing, I'm fed up of people not myself because I'm out of it, but trying to justify what they're doing because it's done on Strava or whatever running app. It's this, and I really am generally concerned because Al and I we coach a lot of runners, yeah, and we see a lot of this stuff, and you see them at the end of a session running up and down the park to get a few to get that 5 miles in or whatever it is. It's bordering on ridiculous. It's gonna be no upside to your training by adding on to get to the 5 miles. All you're trying to do is press somebody or look good on a running app, and it makes no sense to me. And it's like it's worrying, the addiction to put in. It is like social media to try to put that out there and trying to compete. And you see people going, "Oh, I see you've been doing 50 miles this week, but you're only in week 3 of your training. Should I be doing that?" I mean, why are you worried about what I'm doing? Do you see what I mean? I think it's a really negative way to go. You see some people going, "Oh, I see you on Strava. You're only running that fast." Or some people, they look on Strava, because I know people who hide their Strava deliberately or don't even go on it because they don't want to see what their competitors, so they can see each other's times, for example, right? But for us everyday runners, I just think it's a worrying trend that we're in. I don't think it's anything new. But I do think it is getting more prominent, the fact of people are getting so hooked on Strava and other running apps, Nike app, whatever, that it's all about, what I've done on here than actually what you're trying to do as a human being in terms of where
I
you're
think
going
you
on
have
your
to.
journey.
I think you have to really manage it, like you have to manage all your social media and what you're exposed to and what you expose of yourself. I mean, looking back on Strava, and me, I've been running perhaps 5 years, and I think it really helped me go to start to have a record of what I was doing and giving me a sense of achievement and things like that. Mainly because I've never used it to compare myself with other, compare myself. Oh, he's doing this, he's doing that. I do compare it in some respects. Like, I'll give you an example. There's a lad at work who is a sub-3 marathon runner. He qualified for Boston.
Does he do more than 60% every week? Would you say, Wilco, in terms of effort?
No, I don't think he does.
No, okay.
I mean, you'd love him because he loves a heart rate. He runs to his heart rate and stuff like that. And he's very, obviously the standard that he runs, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's like
so I take notice when I see how, like, what sort of speed he's doing his long runs to in relation to his race times and things like that, and see that, one is sort of like a minute and a half slower per kilometer and things like that. So I think you can definitely learn in that respect from other people, but the problem comes when you get dragged into it and you think it's a competition.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's I think you're on the money, Wilco. It's how you use it. So I've just seen a comment. It's more the social media element of the app. I think if you're into your own running and you're into your own data and you're into your own tracking and you're monitoring what you're doing, and I think you're getting the most out of it in terms of the data that you're providing, and you can drill
if
into
I can
it.
just add as well, with regard to that, what I also find as well is that if I'm in a plan and it says, right, 7 miles or something, and I'm thinking, oh, where's 7 miles? Or I want to do something, I can sit down there and flick through all the runs that I've done and see one that I might have done 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
And think, oh, I've not done that for ages. I'll go down there. That's about the same.
And you can monitor your progress as well, how you've gone over the last couple of years. It is like Al goes old school and uses, his diaries that he likes to write in and that sort of stuff. And that as a tool is powerful as a runner, that you've got data points and you've got progress that you can monitor. You can see where your times are falling. If that's what you're into, you might not be into that. You might be, a bit like me, but you just want to go out and run because you like running. It's the thing that you do, right? So it's how you use it, but I think there is a very worrying undercurrent to it that and I hope it doesn't get out of hand, where people are so into what they're doing on Strava and other running apps that it actually impacts their training and impacts their mental state, and it does become an addiction. Oh, I'm only at 39 miles this week, so I've got to get out and do another mile. What? Really? Is that going to make any difference? No. And that's where I think it's dangerous. Yeah, so that's where I am on it. I'd be very interested to know on our thoughts on it as well now. There's no
Yes,
point
mate.
asking Toby because he's asleep.
Well, I'm going to be the consummate politician because I'm going to argue both for and against, as you'd expect.
Oh, good lad.
Politicians hedging their bets. It's interesting what you say about people getting hooked on it and how it affects their training. Before we even discussed having this as a topic, I was listening to a podcast from one of the elite endurance runners in the US, and he was basically saying similar things to you in the sense of people see it out of context. So they'll look at his runs and they'll say, what the hell was he up to today? And they won't have a clue as to what the purpose of that run was. Because you can put it in, but most of us are a bit lazy. We're not going to fill all the details in. And that struck me in prepping for tonight on a run last night. We did a social run around the town. There was 150 runners trailing an arc trail. And I was averaging 16-minute miles. And it's on Strava. And it'll look like, I've had a shocker compared to everything else I've been doing. But it was a completely different run to what I'd normally do. So out of context, it looks completely odd. I've also had a change in relationship with Strava. I think it's fair to say when I started off 3 or 4 years ago, I probably was in that category of chasing every mile because I thought it made the difference. But now I've progressed and I've gone through the coaching. I know that probably wasn't the best and optimized way of managing my training blocks, just chasing junk miles. I still set a goal, and it can be a bit depressing when you kind of load up the app and it tells you you're 57 miles behind your goal. But I know my training block at the moment is building up towards another marathon. So I think I've set a realistic goal for the year, and I'll catch up in the second half of the year as I prep and plan for London and Amsterdam. So it's about now putting it in context. And that would be my watchword. I think, whatever you're doing with Strava, put it in context. The reason I'm going to say I won't delete it is that you can do fun and interesting stuff. So, Strava art, absolutely. You're using it for a completely different reason. You're having a laugh trying to, create pictures, or you're going out and there's a guy that does some amazing Strava art around London. And it's nice to be able to follow those routes and get the same pictures. I've got Santa Claus, I've got a fish, I've got other stuff on my Strava that just gives me a little bit of pleasure. And
it's
it makes
motivation.
those runs fun. Again, I'm not going to be looking at those runs, looking at my average pace. And there's not going to be a comparison in terms of whether I'm progressing faster or slower. It's just been a giggle. It's been a good day out, finding another way to enjoy running. So it does have its uses.
Yeah, I think you're right. It does. I was going to make a point, but I can't remember what it was. It was a good point, but I might come back. If I come back in like 10 minutes and say something random.
Just go, yeah.
Yeah. But no, Al's absolutely right. There's fun elements to it. There's also, you've got the club aspect to it. You've got challenges that can be done in there as well, which I think brings people in and gets them motivated to run. So again, if you're like a charity,
I'll tell you what, if you wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and you see that some of your mates have already been out,
it does motivate. It does. But I think you've got to temper some of the usage of it, and I think you've got to be realistic that you've got to stick to what you're doing, know what you're doing, know what your end goal is, work towards that. If it can be a motivational thing and it's a positive thing in your life, then 100% use it. But if you do find yourself literally just going out to take somebody down to get a local legend status, then maybe that's slightly worrying. Or you're, at the end of a run, you're doing 8 laps of the park because, I've got to get to 50 miles this week. It's a bit strong. And like I said, people don't know, what people are training for, training to. You might have different reasons. And, but again, people look at people's miles. But
there is a difference. There is a difference, I think, between looking about analysing what you're doing and then analysing what other people are doing. And, it's not doing you any harm. It's not doing you any harm if you do a little bit extra. I mean, I get not regular comments, but me and a friend, we get a bit of a joke because I go in kilometres and she runs in miles. And so when I put up sort of like when I've done 8 kilometres and think I've done 5 miles and I put 5 miles of effect, she'll put a picture of her thing and it will see my thing on and it will sort of like have 4.97 or something like that. We'll have a good laugh about it.
Yeah, that's the positive.
So I have a good relationship in that. But yeah, I think when you're doing it for yourself and you want to get your individual targets and you don't want to finish on 0.99 of a kilometre and all that stuff, I think that's all right.
But okay, here's another.
But if you're worried about what other people are doing all the time, it's an individual sport. I mean, we run a great group activity, and we socially, it is a group. We are like a team, but it's an individual thing. You don't want to worry about what other people are doing.
I would ask the listeners, or the people on the pod who listen on the pod, email in who's using the premium service. Yeah. I mean, I'm just interested to know. I don't. But I tell you what, though, boys, I wish I'd invented Strava and other running apps. What a brilliant idea! I mean, but I tell you what, then before we move on, because we got loads of questions and stuff coming, so thank you to everyone. But if there's one thing you could do to improve, let's use Strava as an example, because it is the biggest and probably you could argue the best and most popular running app, right? So we're not here to hammer Strava; they do a good job. But if there's one thing you could improve on it. And also, anybody listening live, stick your comments in. But what is the one thing you would improve on it, Alan? For starters, you go first.
Oh, I thought the lightning round was coming later when I was doing it.
Just put it out there. What's one thing you would improve?
I don't know, to be honest. I do subscribe to the premium, so I've got access to loads of stats. So I'm quite happy with that. I'd have to have a think about it. I don't know, to be honest.
Wilco?
I think sometimes it'd be quite more. It'd benefit from being scientific a little bit more, where it sort of like does your fitness ratings and things like that. Because it just seems to me that it says I'm really fit when I was really fit when I ran a marathon, but when I was injured, I wasn't fit at all. And it all just, it was too based on the actual activity, the amount of activity I was doing rather than the type of activity. If they could sort that out a bit more and improve that, I think
you could argue that's down to the inputs. That's down to the stuff that's coming off your watch or your heart rate monitor. So I'm sure there's clever algorithms behind it, but it's a bit like kind of like the old computer days, rubbish in, rubbish out. And that's no disrespect to your running, Wilco, by the way.
Wow, 60%. All right, well, look, I tell you what, look, he's done absolutely no running, but let's ask him anyway. Tobe, and you can't put eating on Strava, Tobe. So if I said to you, how could you improve? And you'd say eating. No, you can't put that. Go on, what would you improve? Because you're quite techie. Go on.
No idea.
Oh,
Not added value yet.
No, you've not added any value. And have you messaged admin back? She's going to kill you.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on. He's honestly, he's on another plane.
Can I just? We did have a couple of emails on the subject, so I just wanted to go over them and see if you've got any observations from these. One from Andy Messenger. He said, every year since I started running, my average up. He's talking about this is running app addiction.
Wilco, I've remembered.
Go on.
I did tell you to come in at random.
Yeah.
Sorry, people. Sorry, Wilco, to interrupt. Remember, I said that I would remember what I was going to say.
Yes.
I don't understand why people stop their watch and do that thing when you're on a training run or whatever. Why you stop your watch? What difference does it make? All this elapsed time and all this. It's like when I've seen it before. People on Strava go, "Oh, I did a PB there," and it's not. If you look at their elapsed time, it's totally different, and that makes no sense to me. Why? I know you've got auto pulls and that can kick in and all that sort of stuff, but if you're on a track, it makes no sense to me. That was what
I was up this week. Sorry. I was up in Liverpool for a couple of days. I went out for a run, in the city centre, and if I'd have stopped my watch at every time I had to cross the road and wait for a green man at a Pelican crossing, I'd have done it'd have been ridiculous because people who sit there and they stop their watch when they're waiting for cars to go past.
You bump into somebody. You bump into somebody you're running down. It's nice to say hello. I don't bother stopping my watch. What's the point? I'm still out. It makes no difference. Oh, it's going to affect your splits. I don't care. I'm on a training run.
The story of, I think it was Mason Mount, the Chelsea footballer, wasn't it? That he posted on his Strava that
it was Ross Barkley.
Was it Ross Barkley? I know it was someone did a 17-minute 5K, but then he got busted when they said it took him all day to do it. His elapsed time was like an hour.
That's what I mean. You're cheating yourself again to look good on Strava. It's a damaging and it actually it's a
And we'll
negative thing.
find you. We know who
Negative
you
thing.
are.
Yeah, go on, Wilco. Go on, get the email because
Sorry,
we've got
yeah,
so
Andy
much to do.
Messenger. Sorry about Andy. Your message being he said that he had forced to take himself a full month off in May to try and break the cycle for 2 reasons. He said every year since I started running, 8th year now, my average mileage has gone up 3,100 last year. I felt pressure to top it every year, but only for myself. No one else cares. I couldn't do it. So a month off means that I've got no pressure as I couldn't get close. So that seems like a good run. And he says he hit a real downer as well. After he did the Manchester Marathon, he smashed a 2:49 PB. Well done, mate. And was on such a high that the low was even worse than normal. Seeing everybody else out running every day on Strava just made me feel guilty and lazy, and I couldn't rest. I pushed on training and just completely lost my love for running and knackered my legs.
There you go.
I'm just about finding my groove again, but it's taken weeks. After the month off, I deleted loads of people I followed who I didn't really even know. And now I just post my runs and like 2 or 3 runs below mine. I don't feel as driven by hitting paces or mileage as I did, but I know it's still there and it will creep back. So I'll try and take regular breaks. That's interesting, Andy. Thanks for that, mate. And the other email we got was from Chloe, Skyathlon world record holder.
We should all stand up and cheer, really.
We should,
she's
yeah.
a legend.
We'll all salute him.
Skyathlon champion.
She said, my thoughts on Strava and other run apps. There is some addiction with mileage, and don't we like neat numbers? I was talking about this earlier. I bet many runners will run up and down the road or round the block to round up the kilometers because of Strava. Yes, I'm guilty. However, the good has to outweigh that. Firstly, providing you with a training record that you will never lose. But more importantly, I think it makes you more accountable, not just to others, but to yourself, so you actually get it done.
Yeah, I'll make you right. So I'll just read. I've got. Can everybody in the Brock Spawn group, can they stop WhatsApping me? It's driving me nuts because I can't keep up with what you're writing. Sorry, I've just got my watch is going mad. I'm trying at the corner of my eye. I should be paying attention, but you know what I'm like, boys. So
I'll tell you what. Give him a break. Give him a break and just join the IB for chat.
Yeah, I want to be in the. They haven't invited me.
Haven't you? Do you want me to invite you? I'm an admin.
No, I don't want to be invited. I want to be one of the originals. So I feel left out on the side.
You feel slighted.
I'm obviously not going to.
Have we had any
count a run as a PB at a race, in my opinion? I think that is a conversation for another day about the PBs in a race. We should write that down, boys.
Yeah,
it's a good topic for another podcast. Actually,
I would say, can man? Yes, I agree.
Yeah, but I think that's a good topic.
Al, yeah, have we got any observations from the audience before we pop down to your big moment of your new?
Was there a shoe? There was a couple of shoe ones, Al, wasn't there? Or was it? Oh, am I going mad again?
I haven't seen.
There's something about some hokers and something else.
There's a couple of questions related to hokers coming from Super Chappy. He's looking for recommendations for cushion neutral shoes for hoker.
A hoker cushion neutral shoe?
Yes.
Don't bother. They're all terrible. There you go. Answered that.
Well, if you happen to be a hoker fan like I am, Mach 4 is my go-to daily
Mach
training.
5's an improvement apparently, but I'm not wasting my money. They can jog on.
And Rocket X if you want something carbon plated.
Too small. Watch your fitting. Go and get something else, like the Speed 3. What is it? So no, hokers at the moment, I don't think really, apart from the Tecton X, aren't doing anything for me personally. Arahi, whatever number it is that Wilco's got, is a good stability shoe. It's not bad.
It's all right.
I'd be interested to know what I would say, Hoka, is I'd be very interested to see what they do with the next Clifton. That's the one I'm looking forward to because the old Clifton was not actually that bad. It was quite good. So hopefully the new Clifton, which should drop soonish, is an improvement, and then we can see where we're going. Training for London have not been out for the past week due to bad chafing. Should I be worried that I've missed a week of training? Simple answer to that, no. There we go. That's answered that. Should we do the what's it called? Ours new thing. Because I'm interested in that.
And then we'll go through what some of the folks have said about Strava because it seems to be quite a popular.
Yeah, there was a lot.
Subject. Lots of people have because everybody does it. That's why it's popular. we were talking about marathons and things like that. There's lots of people who don't want to run a marathon, who don't do these sort of things, or trail running.
Oh yeah, next week, by the way. But next week, by the way, thanks to everybody who commented in the Facebook group. Again, if you're not a member of that, join. And if you're all listening to this, watching this on the YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe. But we put a poll up saying, would you rather be a faster runner or better runner? That's our topic for next week on the pod. So again, if you want to continue putting in comments about that now via whatever.
Yeah, there's a post on there. I put it up. So I put it up at the beginning of last week. So you should this week. So you should be able to talk about. There's a poll going.
Yeah. And Toby, can you show some of all our viewers' comments, because there's loads of them and you've not been doing it because you've been asleep. Can you hurry up and do that, please?
I've been doing it.
The boy's lapsing. I'm telling you, he's. I don't know where he is today. But he's not on the live stream. But Toby, is it next week you're not here? Right, listeners. That means I'm in charge.
Hey.
What could possibly go wrong?
FORDY's pressing the button, so that'd be a lot.
Yeah.
It proves I can do it in my sleep.
Yeah, but you're not doing it properly. We've seen nothing from everybody. Oh, we've had like over 100 messages, right?
Loads been up there.
And you still
look
not
at your
put any
watch
of them
too
up.
much.
We've come up with an absolute blinding show, probably award-winning if we ever get a chance to enter one. And you're not putting it away.
And right. So come on, Al. Tell the viewers what you've been up to.
Right. Well, because of my jet lag, I've not been sleeping very well. So I've had, a few nights where, the old brain is still ticking over when I really should be fast asleep, So it struck me that after we've done our kind of first anniversary and we had our birthday, we should have a refresh. So I've come up with some new potential lightning round questions.
Oh.
So
do we need to play the new intro? I've not done a new intro. Oh,
no.
Do I need to do a new intro?
We could do if we decide that this has legs.
Right, so
okay.
New
This is a trial. This is a pilot.
So we're going live with a live trial of the new lightning round.
Right, so, and then viewers and listeners on your run, email in. What is it, Wilco?
longrunShow@gmail.com.
And firstly, do you like the new questions? And secondly, do we need a new intro for the lightning round? Because I've probably got a spare 30 seconds to come up with something awesome next week. And it might be 80s themed, just as a heads up.
So I've got 10 questions. The way I'm going to do it is you're all going to get 3 each. And then the last question you're all going to answer. So I'm going to tactically choose who I think will be the best person.
I can't help thinking he's getting ideas above his station here, really.
Yeah, here we go.
Come on now. Nights. So we'll start off. This one's got to go to Chris. What's your current go-to running shoe?
Saucony Endorphin Speed 3.
Okay. In any particular colourway?
Pink, Natch.
Pink, obviously. Let's go to no, I'll save this one for Wilco. Favourite park run location?
Everybody likes their home park run. I'm no different. Panzanger.
Right, good for you. Toby, last training run and why?
6 weeks ago. Edinburgh Marathon.
I said I can't remember. Question quite carefully.
Yeah, I can't think that far back.
Okay, check your Strava and we'll come back to that one. This is the answer now for I think it was Lee that asked about London halves. So Chris, big half or London landmarks?
London landmarks, big halves, pony.
Right. Wilco, favourite finishers medal?
My first Great North Run.
Okay.
Can I answer that as well?
Yeah, of course you can.
My Ragnar medal. I love it.
I'm not sure many people have seen that. We'll have to.
Can I answer the London halves one?
Yeah, no. I'm not exclusive.
What I would say is I've done both. I would say London landmarks is best for atmosphere. Big half better if you want to run a time.
Okay. Next one for Toby. I'm not forgetting about you, mate. Salt and vinegar or cheese and onion?
Oh.
Cheese and onion.
Cheese and onion. A safe bet.
Yeah.
Chris, favourite running accessory?
Probably my 40 run snood.
Oh, that wasn't
no, because you can use it as a sweatband, right?
Yeah.
On your wrist, sweat it, wipe it. Like when I was getting all those nosebleeds and everything,
yeah.
That generally saved my life one day because I was able to do that, right? So when I was like, it genuinely saved my life. But yeah, I would say my snood because you can put it. It doesn't look great, but you can put it over your head and stop the sweat. You can clean your glasses. You can clean the camera with it. You can if you get caught short.
All round.
But wait for this. And this is the ultimate. but make sure it's not a 40 runs one. Make sure it's like a lonely goat one. If you get caught short and you need a trap too, you can use that to wipe certain areas of your body. But make sure
I was worried you were going to go there.
it
I
is
was worried you were going to go there.
from a different club.
Right, I've lost my place in my list now, so
Sorry,
bear with me. Wilco, hill sprints or 800-meter repeats?
Hill sprints.
Oh, on the fast. Toby, sorry, mate. It feels like I'm picking on you, but
He is.
preferred type of cross training?
And no, I can't say that.
Work.
I can't say that.
Work.
Work.
Oh, that's right. You've got an active job, haven't you? Right. So this one is for all three, and I'll just go around in the order that I see you. So Toby first. Bear with me. Takes a little bit of a lead in. So
Okay.
person, dead or alive in brackets, real or fictional in brackets. You'd most like to have as your training partner.
It's me. He's got it now.
Dead.
Dead or alive, real.
No, you
or
can't
fictional.
kill me and say me.
Simon.
Right. Okay.
That
Brutal,
cunt's deep.
brutal but honest. Wilco, do you want me to repeat that? Dead or alive, real or fictional? This is your training partner.
I'm going to pick an alive one, and someone who's a very active runner who would have to slow down quite a lot to be a training partner of mine. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah,
I've always found him. I mean, I've always found him a fascinating character. He's my favourite sportsman, and I think we'd have a good time if he slowed down a bit because he's much quicker than me. But yeah, I'd say him.
Okay, and then over to you, Chris.
Firstly, I'm going to say this for obvious reasons. Mrs. Ford.
Very
Nat,
good.
get that in there.
Hi, Nick.
Yeah, hi, Nick. But it's a point to me. No, I would probably say, and genuine, I would probably say the boys. I train with them every week. I include all of you in that and girls, because I train with Al. We run out together. Wilco, we run out together on club night. Obviously, I spend a lot of time long runs with Tobe and Si. I wouldn't change it for the world. But that's not, being soppy. That's genuine. Running with all of you. Eddie and everybody really. So yeah, just running with you guys and training with you guys. So I kind of cheated, but that's genuinely the truth.
Yeah. So there you go. That's the end of the lightning round. Potentially,
I have to
in
say.
brackets.
Yeah,
I think it's an upgrade. I've got to say.
Yeah, you think it's
I
an
like
upgrade? Whoa.
but I don't know how lightning it would be because they may have
we've
to.
just been
They
testing,
might have to
haven't we?
think about
I'll
them.
work on my delivery so that it gets short and
Yeah,
sharp
more
and
sort of drizzle.
punchy. I had to
Drizzle.
explain the questions to you guys because I know that it
Yeah, I think we
takes a
are.
little bit of time because of the delay. Not because you're not up to it. It's because of the delay on the tech.
No, I have to say, Al, I think you've massively upgraded the lightning round, and it, in my view, definitely needs new titles.
Let's do it
100%.
then. Well, not the new
I think
titles now because we ain't got them, but let's do
no,
it.
we ain't gone. Toby,
Can
you got
we-
the old titles you can roll.
What do you mean, like the last time?
Yeah, show the viewers so they can hammer them. Go. Be fair, I still think that's
They
pretty
weren't
epic.
actually the original ones. The original ones had lightning with an E in it.
Yeah, I like the ones that were spelt wrong. I've got to be honest with you, I did like the ones that were spelt wrong. No, I think I could come up with something better.
You love a challenge, mate.
That's a challenge accepted. Right.
And
so
can we just go through a few sort of
Yeah.
observations from the folks before we depart?
call it a night? I would just give everyone an update on my armpits and the colour of my t-shirt. It has changed colour.
Yeah.
I must
It's very
have
hot
lost
down
it.
East Harts Way tonight anyway.
Right. So what we got, Al?
Yeah, so John Old makes a good point. There is a function within both Garmin and Strava where you can put it on auto pause. So if you are standing still at the lights and you're worried about stopping and starting, the technology will take care of that.
But don't do it on your watch. It takes too long to start and stop. You lose mileage.
No, that's true. That is a fair point. Every time you auto pause, you do lose a few meters.
Why would you have auto pause set up? It makes no sense. Just run.
But that's the
Just
thing on
run.
Strava as well. If you put it in race mode, it uses a total time as your pace.
Race mode.
Right, can I just say it's 59 minutes and 47 seconds, and he's actually just woken up and realised what we're
Toby's
talking about.
arrived,
Well done,
everybody.
Tobe. Thanks for coming tonight, Tobe.
Cheers,
Thank you.
Tobe.
Well done. Good
It was the
contribution.
lightning round.
Oh,
Woke me
God.
up. Made me think.
He's done well, the boy.
We'll
Right,
do
so
another hour then.
we got anything else in there?
Yeah, Craig Wilmer makes a good point that when he first started running, he would get transfixed on other people's paces, probably trying to match or keep up, and this forced him into overtraining on intensity. And I think that picks up on the point of we don't see it in the context of what other people are trying to do. John Ord makes another good point that Strava does allow you to help plan out future weeks. So when you link it with other apps like Training Peaks and other training apps, there is an opportunity to digitize the training plans. That's a positive out there. What I would say is, you mentioned about the Strava being something you'd have happily got involved in. There is some really interesting podcasts out there. The guys that came up with Strava have done a circuit on the podcast. So I'll perhaps find one and stick it in the show links or something.
Money.
No, you'll be surprised. It's only become monetized recently. The actual origins of it all. Quite an interesting story. I think that's probably it.
Well, we had some other questions coming. I'm not sure we're going to get time to it. So, just quickly, lads, any London Landmarks ballot? What are the odds of getting in? Absolutely no idea. The only thing I would say is that I tend to, out of 5 people, I reckon probably 2 of them. I don't know what that is in thing, but that's probably.
Oh yeah, I'd say about 30%, 3 out of 10.
Yeah, it's something like that. But again, I wouldn't worry about it. Nothing you can do about it. So just sign up for the Ibiza. Go to Ibiza.
Yeah, I'm more worried about how many seats are left on the plane.
Yeah, I would just go.
We'll charter more. We'll get a big pink one.
Yeah, just anybody's worried about landmarks, just go to Ibiza. There you go. That we solved that. We've solved so many problems tonight. We've got everybody off of the drug that is running apps that may be called Strava and other ones. We woke Toby up, which was good news at 59 minutes. We've improved the lightning round. I've sweated enough to be able to wear the Nike Zoom Flyer 5s because, as Al rightly said at the front end, I've now lost enough weight sweating in this room tonight.
Well, that's good news.
How heavy they are won't impact me that much on Sunday. And I think, we've made the world a better place, boys. That's probably a good place to end it. Anyway.
Well, that's where we like to try and do. Thanks ever so much, everybody, for joining us. Best of luck, chaps, doing the ASICS 10K on Sunday. Good luck to everybody else, whatever races or training, long runs, all sorts of stuff that you're up to. Particularly if you're on your long run, don't forget, take us along. Provide a bit of entertainment for you for about 64 minutes or so.
I'd say probably only 4 of those minutes, but anyway, carry on.
Well, yeah, but you have to fight your way through it, so you're going to have to listen to it all. That's just the way it is. Ever so much for joining us. We are here on YouTube and Facebook, 7 o'clock every Friday. But if you cannot be with us live on those mediums, then you can download us as a podcast on your favourite podcast provider of choice, whether it's Amazon or Spotify, whoever you fancy, really. And we'll be there a week. And there's a whole back catalogue now, 55 episodes that you can plough your way through and listen to. So, there's plenty of entertainment out there, kids, and it's all there laid out on a plate for you. So dive in, help yourself. Thanks ever so much to the boys coming in. Al, you're not about next week either, are you?
Not for the show, no. I'm actually doing a 10K race Friday evening. So, I'll be pounding the streets.
Excellent. So we'll have a much changed cast, which will be announced in due course.
It'll be a refreshed lineup.
Yeah, we like to freshen things up every now and then. A bit like you can't beat a good reshuffle.
No,
particularly at this time.
Topical, but I think we should stop there.
Yeah.
I'll just say good luck. Chris is in charge.
What did you say, Tobe?
I said Chris is in charge next week, so it may not be a live stream.
Yeah, there is that, I suppose.
We'll do our best.
Tune in, 7 o'clock.
We'll do our best. So thank you very much for joining us. Email us, longrunshow@gmail.com. Stick stuff up on the FORDY community Facebook page. If you're not a member, what are you missing? Get out there. Come and see us and say hello. So then we will be with you next week. And we'll see you then, 7 o'clock. Toad, run those titles, please, sir.
Which ones?